On today's program, when a business becomes a social project, customers, friends and colleagues, and a professional lawyer becomes the leader in the scope of a healthy diet. The heroine of today's program is not a dietitian, although she is one of the well-known advocates for healthy lifestyles in Kazakhstan. She is also not a businesswoman in the classic sense of this word, although she has a full-fledged business. Almira Seidzhaparova, creator of the Center of a Healthy Diet and the owner of one of the first catering companies in the country. But today most people know her as the author and host of programs to improve the health of the body. In just the past 3 years, more than 4,000 people visited her consultations and seminars. But first things first.
Я вообще, кажется, начала работать с самого раннего детства.
I do think I started to work in my early childhood. In the 3rd grade, I was assigned to look after 2 veterans who lived on the next street. And 3 times a week, I would come to their house to sweep their yard, take out their garbage, and buy at least some kind of products. Later, in high school, I was looking after 1st graders, and it was like a full-time job, because after all lessons in high school, I spent my time to help them with homework and go on walks with them. Social responsibility, which is so fashionable to say today, for Almira was a natural part of life, not a moral category from her childhood. She is from a small spa town, Saryagash, in the South Kazakhstan region. Who grew up in a large family, it can be said that with her mother's milk soaked the ability to care for others. Weekly, we hosted 10 to 15 guests at home, and therefore we were always cleaning, setting the table, cooking, and meeting guests. For us, it was a widespread pastime almost every day. And I want to focus on this because they are my classes, and this is my first job, I can say, and it has determined my habits and skills that have helped me throughout my life, and I still have them. I saw in America a lot of families that encourage their children to do physical labor by the fact that they pay $5 for washing clothes, mowing the lawn, or cleaning the house. But it seemed to me that the taste of money changes over time in humans. Sometimes it becomes more vivid or dull, but the desire to be helpful is formed in childhood. The desire for appreciation, gratitude from grandmothers, children, it doesn't matter. And for life, maybe that's why I'm not the richest, but at least I know that I do something that can benefit people probably all my life. And then it certainly had an impact on the choice of activity which I'm doing now. However, the first profession of Almira was completely unrelated to the current scope of activities, although it is possible to say that it was aimed at helping people.
Я закончила Казахский государственный юридический университет и
I graduated from the Kazakh State Law University and worked for 5 years in this professional occupation. In general, it was quite a successful start. We rose to the head of the legal department, worked in the oil and gas industry. But unfortunately, I could not find the place in my heart, my life for jurisprudence. And then by coincidence, when I came back from America with a small child in my arms, I already decided that I just do not want to work as a lawyer.
Мы вернулись, и я решила точно, что я больше не хочу работать юристом.
The project came up by itself. Almira's family had a small business in her hometown. There was a great desire to expand it in Almaty. The risk was great, high competition, consumer-spoiled metropolis, which makes it difficult to surprise. But the enterprising young woman was not afraid of difficulties.
Я возглавила здесь компанию.
I took over a company here and opened production, opened the coffee house set. In general, with this, I began my journey in the restaurant business. To be honest, I did not find myself in the industrial, mass production of confectionery products, simply because I do not like sweets. And perhaps a man must be engaged in business, which he likes, which is part of his life. And so after a while, I was gone.
Поэтому я через некоторое время ушла.
At this point, the family business was well established. Almira wanted to prove herself in something purely close to her. Life itself prompted her with the idea of opening a catering company. At first, it was just some coffee breaks with customers who I knew, drinking tea at a friend's home. I by myself came, put on an apron and covered their table, put flowers and beautifully picked up the dishes. And it was just like the first such girlish enthusiasm, which grew now into the company that can cater for banquets up to 2,000 people. We have a good team of chefs, waiters, bartenders, and decorators. We have all the resources necessary for this purpose, furniture and tableware. And I think our distinctive feature is that we are preparing, firstly, tasty, affordable, and very nice food. A wide range of customers. These are automotive corporations and banks and telecommunication companies. Well, there is also a part of the individuals with whom we have a lot of work and by which our company has grown. They have a special place in my heart, in my attitude towards them. Actually, when we talk to Almira, we are constantly surprised by her special philosophy and approach to issues facing her. Not problems, but only tasks. The ability not only to communicate and build relationships, but live by communication.
Моя мама потрясающий добрый человек, и она вот нас всегда учила не заморачиваться на том.
My mom is a stunningly kind person, and she always taught us not to bother on how to be angry at someone. She said, take it easy. And with that words, take easy, we have a lot of things done in our life. Something happened unpleasant, but we do not worry. Quarrel, we do not worry. And you know it's really easy to live with, because you do not go in cycles, not to stay in this moment more and more. Now, when I help my son with his education, I very often think, well, I was given by my own parents. Probably the main things that I've learned from my childhood is hard work and not to be lazy. Dad taught two things: never be late and keep your word. Our mother taught a very good thing: just do everything humanely. She always said, do well the things at once, and you do not have to make it over. And these factors played a great role in my life.
И, наверное, вот эти факторы, они в итоге очень большую роль сыграли в моей жизни.
Probably only guided by this philosophy, one could create another project, starting from business and as a result making it a more special phenomenon.
Изначально задача была открыть лобби-бар для клиентов, как это требуется по стандартам, и по сути это должны были быть все живые.
The initial task was to open the lobby bar for customers of a fitness center as required by the standards, and in fact there should have been fresh juices in our range and snacks. And after a while we were working with Valihanov, a managing director of the club. And I began to notice that by this time, some customers who walked regularly for 5 to 6 months have not changed physically. People with a belly still had them. And people seemed to somehow lose weight, but not much changed. I asked Valihan, what is happening? And he told me that 80% of the training depends on power supply. For me, it was a revelation because I was never involved in sports. And I do not think that this is so associated with each other. And then for the first time I had the idea to create a program that would cover monthly healthy eating, sports and beautician for people.
И тогда пришла в первый раз идея создать программу, в рамках которой бы люди в течение месяца питались бы правильно, занимались спортом, ходили бы к косметологу.
A simple desire to help led to a revolution in the life of our heroine. The modest lobby bar grew into a popular center for a healthy diet, known not only for its cuisine but also a scientific approach to the development of the menu. To develop programs, experience of the world's leading experts like Henry Shino and Pierre Dukan was used, and also the recommendations of the best doctors of Kazakhstan.
Результаты программы были потрясающие. У нас люди не только сбросили вес, подтянулись, но еще и эмоционально.
Results of the program were terrific. Our people not only lost weight and tightened, but still emotionally somehow looked different. They had a good mood. And then such a response followed by the program, all wanted to participate and asked us to continue further. And only then I began to study in depth the issue of healthy eating. Why? Because any diet gives you short-term results in weight loss, loss of some volume, but you can't guarantee a healthy diet that will give you a full life and a full set of necessary minerals and vitamins, carbohydrates, proteins, and fats.
Жизнедеятельность, скажем так, да, и весь набор необходимых минералов, витаминов, углеводов, белков и жиров.
Sometimes it becomes amazing how fate pushes you in the right direction in advance and how to prepare for the upcoming test, because soon healthy nutrition became vital for Almira. Last year I was faced with two large trials in my life. It was my father's health and the health of my son. My dad had a stroke and we literally almost lost it. According to the World Health Organization, 10 million people, or 60% of those who die each year around the world, suffer from disease and die from disease caused by malnutrition. Well, once I did it, of course I made it my life's work in order to carry some information to the masses. I am not a nutritionist and not a doctor. Can I be useful on a professional level? Well, at least proper cooking of good food brings to the attention of mothers, women who are responsible for our home in Kazakhstan, so that they can form a healthy kitchen right at home and thus ensure the health of their loved ones. That is why the project of Almira is a specific cafe that challenged all the opinions that she would not be successful because they would not have any income from the sale of alcohol, cigarettes, or hookah. A large number of popular traditional dishes are not included in the menu. That program and menu for athletes, personal consulting, workshops on healthy eating became the sartorial statement. A recent bright project was workshops on child nutrition.
На своих семинарах я с удивлением нахожу, что из 100 мам, которые приходят, 90% не знают.
In my seminars, I was surprised to find that 90 out of 100 mothers do not know how much protein, carbohydrates, and sugar their baby should eat. And just last year, I found out that 12 well-to-do families who during their week had sent me the diet of their children from 6 to 8 years consume 52 kilograms of sugar per year, when the standard is only 2 kilos. And of course, they are already statistically at risk for cardiovascular disease and oncology in particular. They say when you give something to the outside world, it will give you something in return. Helping athletes improve their health, Almira is inspired by the ideas of sport and made it a part of her life. I discovered an entirely new field, jogging. I run 3 times a week, an average of 10 kilometers in the open air. And I want to say that for the first time, perhaps for the entire period of my life, a child who all his life suffered from chronic illnesses, such as colds and so on, and I stopped completely to be sick. I want to say by personal example that it has a big effect. My personal example is sports. I am also very fascinated by my own son, who seems to be interested in football, goes to different sections, but nonetheless, again, he doesn't lose his weight. He hasn't been losing his weight for a very long period of time. And only my regular workout, outdoor activities that ingrained to him helped him. I'm preparing for a marathon. I want to run a half marathon in April, and in the fall run of the Frankfurt Marathon. To date, I have such goals. The business of a person and his way of life is largely a reflection of his inner world. Today, Almira Seidzhaparova gives 5 to 6 individual consultations. More than 100 people a month visit her training programs. Talking with her, you realize that she is a patriot of her country, who acts for show, but makes really worthy things that help people.
Вся наша команда помогает формировать правильные привычки у нашего населения, у которых, культурно так сложилось.
Our whole team helps to form correct habits in our population. It so happened that in our culture that Kazakhs don't really have correct habits, not useful habits in eating. Changing these views probably is our primary goal to reduce the statistics on cardiovascular disease, cancer, and help our children. So I certainly feel satisfied. Every day I come to work in the morning at 8 to 8:30. And when you see the same guest for 3 years, that's exactly why it was worth creating. We have not even lost any guests. We are pleased that they have come to us every day and trust us and entrust their children to us. And when I am asked, why do you work here? I easily say, I don't work here. This is actually a part of my life. I'd love to do it here, what I do at home.
Всегда отвечаю, что я тут и не работаю, на самом деле, это часть моей жизни, я с удовольствием здесь делаю все так, как если бы я устраивала у себя дома.